program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody, and welcome inside Running Point on a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. I'm Anthony Hartwig, Ty Bartell. We have a full party here on Wednesday to start off Wrestling Wednesdays with Gary Altizer. We are joined by a special guest today, Rocky McLaughlin, the head coach of the Louisville Leopards wrestling team. Coach, thank you for joining our wrestling segment and getting a chance to talk about your program.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Coach, let's first and foremost just talk about these qualifiers you guys got in the individuals and just some of the seasons that these boys have been having and what you've seen from them growth-wise over the course of the year.
You know what? We've had a pretty good season. I think that everything is going pretty well for us as far as getting to this point. You know, our goal is always to kind of get to the end here and peak at the right time and have everybody ready to go when we get to the state tournament. So right now I feel like things are going well.
Hey, Coach, I see you have 9 qualifiers, and a couple years ago you guys were dual team state champs. Is this state championship or bust time for you guys now here at the individual tournament?
I don't know, man. You know, St. Paris Graham's sitting out there, and that's a big task. So this is the most kids that we've sent with 9. So you know, as far as closing that gap on them with the number of qualifiers, I think this is a pretty good opportunity for us to try to catch them. So,
yeah, definitely a tall task when you got a national team like that in your division. I know that you got that win over them in the state duels, but the individual tournament's a little different. But with the qualifiers you have to be confident right now.
Yeah, and I don't remember what they have off the top of my head. I think they have 11 or 12. So like I said, it's the closest we've been number-wise as far as participants to them since I've been here. So, you know, it gives us an opportunity, and you know, we'll have to go down and compete.
Coach, let's go over your 9 qualifiers and kind of the season that they've had and talk about those kids a little bit and I want to give you a chance to highlight those boys and the work they've put in this season.
At 106, we have Lacey Harvey. Lacey is a senior at 106, and this is his first trip to the state tournament. So he lost in the first round of districts and then wrestled his way back to 3rd. Actually, the kid that we beat in the blood round was the kid he lost to in the first round. So Lacey comes out of 3, and, you know, he's going to have to win a couple big matches to get himself on the podium. At 113, we have Colton Barker. Colton is a sophomore, and he's a returning state qualifier. And, you know, I think one of his big goals is to get back, just to get on the podium this year. It wasn't something he was able to accomplish last year. So I know that's a big deal for him. He's got a pretty good draw. So, you know, he'll have to go down and have a good tournament. 126, we have Dylan Rhodes. Dylan Rhodes is a junior. He was 5th last year at the district at 106. You know, just missing state qualification. So again, this is his first trip, but also somebody I think that can get on the podium for us. At 132, we have Pablo Castro. Pablo is a projected state champ. He was runner-up last year at 132 to Kyron Butler, who's now at the University of Virginia. lost to him in a ride out. So it was a real close match. And this is a big trip for him because he'd really like to get that first state title. At 138, we have Dominic Hoffarth, and he is a junior, and he is also projected state champ. So did not have a great district tournament, was third, lost in the quarterfinals. So he's going to have to put together a good tournament if he wants to, if he wants to win his first state title. So at 157, we have Brennan Seavers. He is a returning state place winner. He was sixth last year as a junior. He's a senior. Again, somebody would like to get back on the podium and work his way up there a little bit. So he lost in the semis last year and then ended up being sixth. So at 175, we have Noah Peterson. He's a returning state qualifier. Did not place last year, but did win our district this year. So as far as draws go, his draw is a little better than it was last year. And we're hoping that will help him here down the stretch. 190 is Blake Shafer. Blake was runner-up in the district to Dylan Fishback, who's the number one ranked kid in the country. I guess the positive of that is that we're going to be on the opposite side of Dylan going into the state tournament. So hopefully we'll see a rematch of that in the finals at 190. And then at heavyweight, we have Cameron Brazik, who is a returning state place winner. He was eighth last year. So again, somebody that we would like to see get back on the podium and certainly has a shot at wrestling in the finals for us.
Speak to me character-wise on your team and these 9 boys in particular, and really just highlight the ones leadership qualities that you see within them, and who's kind of running those practices, and who do you kind of turn to student leader-wise for those big meets?
They all do a pretty good job as far as, it's definitely a team effort. I think as far as practice goes, I think we do a pretty good job from top to bottom, holding each other accountable. And I think that's something that's expected in our wrestling room. And, I think that's something that they take a lot of pride in and that's important to them. So as far as leading up to this, I got to be honest with you, we didn't have a great semifinals at the district, but of the kids who lost in the semis or in the wrestlebacks, we did not lose a match in the blood round, and we did not lose a match for third and fourth. So that for us was a big deal. And I guess I contribute that to a little bit to our being a team effort. At a couple points, the people at Perry had come to me and asked me to get our kids off of the side of the mat because they were there cheering on their teammates. And I think that was a big thing for us in the wrestlebacks. So.
Coach, looking at your lineup, I see Lacey Harvey. You said he's a first-time qualifier. He's been on your team and kind of he's the kind of kid that seems like he'll do whatever the team needs. I know that I think at some point, maybe last year before, he was even wrestling 120, I think, for you guys. So he's bumped up and down the lineup. You got to feel good for a kid like that to be able to start at his natural weight or his probably desired weight class and be able to get to the state tournament. He's got to be excited. He's
super excited. I got to be honest with you. I've never actually been happier for a wrestler as far as qualifying. He was a sectional champ for us as a freshman. And then the next 2 years sat behind really good kids at 106. He sat behind Dominic Hoffarth as a sophomore, who was a state qualifier, which got canceled because of COVID. And then he sat behind Rhodes last year. And like you said, he wrestled 120 for us last year at the district tournament. I believe he won 2 matches at 120. So, it's a pretty big deal for him. And I think that was one of those things, I guess, in that stretch we had at the districts that really fed our kids. I think they fed off of Lacey a little bit because that was a pretty big deal for him and for our team.
We know this program at Louisville is historic and it's got a winning tradition, but we also know that programs don't get built like that without people behind it. So highlight some of the people that have helped with this wrestling program, the administration, the coaches that work with you, and some people that have really put in the work to make this program what it is.
I guess I'll start with our administration. Since I got to Louisville, they've been really supportive, whether it's Terry Horner, athletic director, or Michelle Shafer, our superintendent. The answer has always been yes. So whatever they could do to help us get where we needed to be, they've been willing to do. So, my staff has been great for me. We have a great youth staff, and I think that's where most of this starts. Chris McCauley's been running our youth program for as long as I can remember, and also comes in a day a week and helps with our middle school club. So I guess his hands are part of all of that lies below the middle school. We also have Gil Donahue helping out at our youth level now, which has been a big addition. And I think that those two guys have done a lot for us at the middle school. My dad's our head middle school coach, which has been a blessing for me because I feel like it's somebody that I can trust and rely on to do the things that, I guess, the same things we're doing at the high school. So, and then obviously I have a great high school staff. I think I have 6 high school assistants, a couple who are former head coaches, and then we also have a handful of young guys who come in and get after it every day.
Coach, talk to me about those internal discussions you have with your team too, and battling adversity. For example, when you lose to someone early on in a tournament, have to battle all the way back just to face them again. What are those kind of discussions to kind of even your mindset to, and not let that moment get too big, or not let a situation take over too much headspace?
Yeah. Well, we had to deal with that this weekend because Hoffarth 38 definitely didn't think he was going to lose in the quarterfinals. And to be honest, I feel like it was a situation where he kind of overlooked, the guy he was wrestling, and not to take anything away from the young man that he lost to, but we just didn't have a great match. We weren't prepared for it, and I was really proud of him because it was definitely a situation where we had to sit down and have a heart to heart about that not being the end of the road, and that not necessarily meaning anything going into the next week here. So our kids wrestle a lot of big tournaments, and they've had their fair share of losses. And I think that those are just things that as a team that you talk about and you grow from and try to use moving forward.
Coach, going from one coach to another, what do you think it is that has led to your success in Louisville and the program success? Outside of the off-season work that we know that it takes and the hours that you put in, what is it? What keeps your numbers up? What keeps the interest in the program, and what keeps you guys successful year after year?
I guess my answer to that would be youth wrestling. So my situation is a little different because I have 3 young boys, all who wrestle in our youth program. So I go to all of our youth practices. I work in the elementary. And I think that youth wrestling is a giant part of being successful in the long term at the high school level. I think that your numbers at the youth level directly affect that. So, and it's just for us, it's been just finding ways to keep those kids involved, make it fun for them, and keep it interesting. So, but youth wrestling has been a big deal for us. Youth wrestling, and then we run a pretty extensive off-season program. So our kids will come back after the state tournament. They'll take about 2 weeks off, and we will head right back into freestyle and Greco. They'll go through Fargo. They'll take about a month off after Fargo, and then we'll get back into fall wrestling. So, I think it's a combination of those two things. I think youth wrestling is a really big part of it, but I also think that once you get them to that point, that if you want to wrestle at a high level, you have to be willing to do some of the things that other successful programs are doing.
Coach, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and talk about your kids, talk about your program, help us shine a light on the guys that put in all the work for the Leopards. We thank you again for your time, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Rocky McLaughlin, the head coach of the Louisville Leopards wrestling team, which, Gary, we've talked about him a lot throughout this season. One of the most successful programs in the Ysn family.
Oh, absolutely. And to have 9 state qualifiers, that's just, for a public school, that's crazy. Good luck to them. And, as he's reading down his lineup, every single one of those kids are hammers. They're tough. They're hard-nosed. They put in the work. And, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out and how far they can move up in the team standings.
It's probably the person most talked about is Pablo Castro, who's projected to be the state champion.
Yeah, I mean, the coach, Rocky said it best. He lost on a ride out, which is in overtime, to a kid that now wrestles at the University of Virginia. So it tells you what kind of level that the Castro kid's on. So I would think that he's got his sights set on gold this weekend.
This is going to be interesting times too. And I mean, when we talk about situations like what Coach brought up too, and when you have to battle that sort of adversity, and we talk about losing early too, and how much this sport is mental as it is physical straining. I mean, what are you kind of trying to do to tell yourself, if you're the athlete, take it from the athlete's perspective here, Gary, you lose it early in that sort of moment. It's got to affect you initially, but how do you kind of let that moment not affect you going forward, and you kind of bring yourself back down and level yourself?
You just have to have a short memory. And, whatever happened in the last match has nothing to do with the match that you're wrestling now. So you just have to have a short memory, be loose. But, I mean, in the district tournament, as I was telling you guys last week, it's the most stressful tournament there is for a wrestling coach, if you ask me. Just because getting to the state tournament means so much. So it's really one of the goals that basically every wrestler has, is to get to Columbus. So to lose that first match and know, man, I can't mess up again. There's definitely some stress level that gets to when it gets to that point. You just have to tell yourself, hey, it's now or never time, and I can't worry about anything else but this match right now with this. My opponent here, same size circle, one ref, one opponent. Just you have to keep your mindset. I would say urgency, but also don't overthink things and go through it. And he said about his 106-pounder, the Harvey kid. I mean, that takes a lot of guts to lose the first match and then come back and win the rest of them and take third place. That's a grind. That's 5 straight matches that he won in a tournament where he's already at the bottom half of the bracket, which is, in the consolations. Every single kid has the same mindset that he does. Hey, if I lose, I'm done. Hey, this is it. It's now or never time. So for him to overcome that 5 times in a row, 4 times in a row until he got to the finals, that's saying something.
Coach, I know there are a lot of other Ysn family people that have qualified for state, a lot of big programs that have put a lot of names in there. I know you have the results in front of you as well. Go over some big names that did qualify for state, and some programs that are sitting quite a few. I know South Range has quite a few names on that list.
Yeah, so we were at the Garfield Heights district, so South Range was there with us. They had, I believe, 8 state qualifiers and then 1 alternate. They wrestled great. They did everything that I thought they would do. They won the district, and they had kids, coming through for them, winning big matches. I know the Samil kid had a really nice tournament. So did Marcoulin. Really, they all did there at Garfield Heights. Things went kind of how I expected them to go as far as team races and, teams getting wrestlers out. Beaver Local had 4 kids get out. Logan Hours obviously becoming a district champion, but so was Mark Emmerling. I took a look at the brackets earlier. Logan's destiny's in his own hands. I don't see anybody there that's going to beat him, and it wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have a match. If he has a match that's within a point, I'd be shocked. I'd be surprised about that. Emmerling, he's got a path to get on the podium for sure. They also had a couple more. Gabe Morgan, he's a sophomore, and then Jamin Salisbury. Salisbury kid's been around a long time. It'd be nice to see him get on the podium too. I think he's got a path as well. As far as the Division III, other teams that I saw, I'm going to look through the brackets here, see if anything stands out to me. It was a very competitive Garfield Heights district. I mean, there were good kid after good kid after good kid. If you got out of our district in Garfield Heights, I feel like you have a really good chance to get on the podium. Waterloo had a couple of state qualifiers. Justin Fox was one of them. The other one was Mason Duncan. He won a real close match with a United kid to get out. United has a state qualifier. Their heavyweight, Dallas McCracken, was able to take 3rd place. So a lot of familiar faces and familiar names. And I tell you what, YSM will be represented well in Columbus this weekend.
One of the names that I read up on, and I want to give a shout out to Jackson Milton's Owen McDevitt. He did a lot of really good things, and he got fourth, so he's going to state. But he had to beat a kid from Rootstown, which is a very good program.
Oh yeah.
To kind of get on that podium because he lost his first semifinal and had to win his consolation semifinal to get on that 4 spot. And we know how tough Rootstown is.
Oh yeah, Rootstown. I mean, every year they're good. Every year they're a top team in Division III in the state. We wrestle in the sectional and the district tournament with them, so we see them every year. They're a really, really great program. I think they had 7 qualifiers, I think, if I'm remembering right. So I mean, they're getting out a bunch of kids. Owen. Yeah, we wrestled him in the past. He was hurt this year. I think he had a broken bone that he had to heal from. So he hadn't had a lot of mat time, but he's really wrestling well. Happy for Brian and the guys there at Jackson Milton for him to get out. He wrestled very well at the sectional tournament and did what he had to do at the district tournament to get to Columbus. Dominic Leone did the same thing for Liberty. I know Haiti and Ryan and those guys are really excited for him to be able to qualify. And I believe those two wrestled for 3rd and 4th. So I think Leone won that to get 3rd place. So we got a couple guys right there in that weight class, and they both.
I saw that Coppersmith from Crestview got into states.
Yeah, he won all of his matches until the finals. I think he got caught in the throw, but he's been wrestling amazing this year. He really should get on the podium. They had another wrestler, Braden Stallworth, that's an alternate. He made to the semifinals and lost a really close match. So it was a good weekend for the local kids.
We saw Stephen Mara obviously qualifies for state. That's kind of a slam dunk.
Right. Yeah, he's in that 215-pound weight class. So there's a kid in there named Kyle Snyder that wrestles for Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy. He's a nationally ranked kid. That's going to be his biggest, I guess, opponent. You would say if he's going to get to the finals, that's probably who he would see.
I mean, just looking at this too, is there any dark horse candidates you think that are maybe projected a little bit lower that you see, maybe like, 4th, 5th, that you think maybe have a shot at really taking first and becoming state champion?
To become a state champion, a dark horse to become a state champion. I mean, it's
hard wrestling, man.
It is, and it's hard to be a dark horse in wrestling too because there's so much exposure. You wrestle so many matches. I mean, honestly, one of those Louisville kids is going to get on the podium. I don't know if it will be a dark horse in the heavyweight weight class in Division III. I would not be surprised if McCracken got on the podium. He's such a big kid, and he really doesn't put himself in bad situations. And I'm looking at his bracket right now. He's got a path for sure. That would be one that sticks out to me in D2 or D3. And in D2, Mark Emmerling from Beaver Local, I've seen the kid wrestle at a level where he could wrestle with just about anybody in the state. He won his district, and he's got the experience. He's got the motor. He's got the gas tank. He should be on the podium, but that's somebody I'd be looking out for as well.
Is there a certain weight class that you're seeing with more loaded talent? Or, for instance, I guess a better question, in more recent times, has there been like a certain weight class or a variety of weight classes that have had more challenging opponents to get through in a state tournament, I guess, to say?
Yeah, I mean, it changes every year. In fact, the first thing that popped in my head when you said that was, I think it was in 2015, at the state tournament, there was a kid from Steubenville. His name's Tariq Wilson. He's a multiple-time All-American for North Carolina State. He just won the ACC, and he's never won a state title. In his senior year, he lost. He won the Ironman that year and did not win a state title. So yes, there are weight classes that are more tough some years than others, and it just depends. It changes every year. That 215-pound weight class at D2 is going to be very, very tough. The heavyweight class of Division III is really tough. 106 in Division II has a kid named Barrick Jordan, who I believe is ranked number 1 in the country, if not in the top 5 in the country at that weight class. And he has been an absolute hammer, just going through people like I've seen some of the scores and some of the people he's beat. There's a kid named Javon Yarborough from Copley, who is another really high-level talented kid. That 106 at D2 is going to be a tough one. That'll be one I'll be interested to see if Jordan wins it, and if he does, if the kid from Copley gets through too.
Do we see some gamesmanship during this time where kids are trying to put on or take off weight because maybe there's a better matchup in a certain weight class, or maybe there's a Logan Hours that we don't want to have to go through to a state title? Is there that kind of gamesmanship that's allowed where you can put on, take off weight before a tournament like this?
Oh yeah, well before sectionals, yes, you can, and you'd see kids move all the time. It happens constantly. They wrestle at a weight class all year long. And then they kind of get a feel for the weight class and where am I going to have the best chance to get to Columbus, or, maybe there's somebody that they just, they can't beat, or there's somebody who's projected to be a champ at a different weight class that they have beaten. So maybe they bump up or maybe they bump down. It does happen. It happens all the time. And, if you're smart about it, it can work out for you.
Gary, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I'm going to do it to end this segment. One guy, you have to pick one guy that best chance to win a state championship in the Ysn family. Who you taking?
Logan Hours. No doubt, home run, slam dunk. No one else has, in my opinion, a chance like he does. And like I said, I'll be shocked if it doesn't happen.
There you go.
Talking about some Beaver local gold, huh?
And
state champion about, I think it was 2004. So you're talking, it's been almost 20 years now. So they're probably due, and I think it's gonna happen this year.
And we got one more week, Gary, over this segment. Next week will be our finale. We'll try, if we have a state champion, we'll try to get them on, try to highlight some players that really did well in Columbus, and we're gonna have fun next week as our finale of the wrestling season kind of is upon us.
Yeah, I can't believe it's here already. It's been a long 4.5 months. It's also been a short 4.5 months. I look forward to this every week, and I've had a great time doing it with you guys. But I got a question, Ty. Will you tell Anthony to make up his mind? Is he a Chiefs fan? Is he a Cardinals fan? Who does this guy like, man?
Tell him, Ty. I'm a Jersey fan. So I like my jerseys.
You threw me.
Ant just hedges his bets, is what Anthony does do from season to season.
The NFC West just got a lot easier.
He said Cardinals. NFC's easier. I'm a Cardinals fan now.
As a 49ers fan, I have no problem with Russell Wilson moving to the AFC. I'll tell you that.
Path just got a lot easier for them, huh?
Is Jimmy G staying?
I don't doubt it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they kept him another year. But, I mean, they do got a young kid in that they put a lot of draft capital in, but he's not ready yet. And if he's not ready, he shouldn't be out there. And I'll tell you, Kyle Shanahan is one of the smartest coaches in football. Whatever he decides to do will be the right decision.
What do you think when those rumors started to fly around that Tom Brady was talking to the 49ers?
Listen, I have my button on the enter order page of 49ers.com because I was buying that jersey as soon as it came out. If that happens, I might I don't know, I might not watch football again because it's not going to get any better than that.
That'd be wild. That'd certainly be wild. Well, Gary, we're gonna have to do something big for our finale though next week too, as we loved having this wrestling segment, and we loved having the addition of getting more wrestling coverage in the area.
I still think for the finale, Gary and Ty to both come in, and we should get some demonstrations.
Hey, you know what? I'll be free next week. Just let me know. And
Ty,
hey, I gotta come in and get slammed around.
come on in, let's go.
That's part of my contract. I guess if we're gonna do it big, we got to do it for the finale.
Right.
Since Gary can't slam you, right, Anthony?
He could.
I'll tell you what, though, people are paying attention to the show. I was at a tournament. I had somebody come up to me and they grabbed me and said, "Hey, are you the guy on the YSN show?" And I said, "Yes." "You look familiar." People are paying attention to it, and I feel like as time goes on, we're going to get more and more people tuning in, and it's just been a great time talking with you guys about this every week. I'll be doing as long as you want me there.
We
Gary,
look forward to keep bigger and better things with it too, man.
You're our guy. So we'll see you next week for our finale. And until then, have a fun time watching all the state wrestling matches this weekend.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Good one, Coach.
Gary Altizer, the man, the myth, the legend, the wrestling guru himself, coming on with us every Wednesday. We cannot thank him enough for his time. One more week with Gary next week. And I don't know if that was like a confirmation, but, we might just have in the studio with Gary next week.
We might have. And I mean, the great thing is too, I mean, we're going to have Gary as one of our wrestling experts to turn to for YSN. And we looked forward to doing bigger and better things with the sport of wrestling this year. And having Gary Altizer on weekly was a part of that, just to have a segment of someone that knows the community and knows a lot of in-depth, a lot of these wrestlers in the area and outside the area that can really speak on it. And he's done a great job. And we've had all these coaches that come on too. We've been highlighting some great programs. We've had some state champions. So I think the sport of wrestling, we were graciously enough able to jump on this boat this year, because some big things happened this year for wrestling in the community.
We definitely love doing this every week. And like I said, next week we're going to have a lot of fun with it, as the final week of Wrestling Wednesdays is kind of now officially upon us. It'll be next Wednesday with Gary, and we can't wait for it. With that, I guess we promo the rest of the show. 1 o'clock, we're gonna have Daniel Wedding, the strength and conditioning coach over at Austin Town Fitch. Does a great job with all of their athletes, getting them in shape, getting them ready for the season. I think he won a national award for strength and conditioning coaches not too long ago. We'll talk to him about the upcoming spring season, the athletes he works with, some of the things he does to get them ready, and a lot more at 1 o'clock. Scotty's in the studio. He'll be joining us around 1:30 to talk about all the fun stuff he always talks about. And we'll also have him try to stump Ty as he might. He had a good week last week.
Yeah, we'll see what heat he brings this week. It'll be
still up by a sizable margin.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. We'll have to see what Scotty decides to bring to the table this week. He wore a Warren Moon jersey to ask me a Warren Moon question.
He better ask the Warren Moon question today, because he said he's had it in the holster. He doesn't have the Warren Moon jersey on anymore, so it won't be. It won't be on target. But I have a number 1 jersey, so I guess it's like close-ish.
We'll see. All Scotty did was give me a week to kind of just look up Warren Moon trivia. Then, so.
Yeah, I bet you did. All that time working at Target, you were spending researching Warren Moon.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Man. We're going to take our first break of the day. When we come back, we'll have more on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickie Electric.
Joe Dickie Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as we continue this Wednesday edition. And Ty, I guess as we transition from wrestling state tournament this weekend, now let's talk about a little bit more about the Camel Mooney game that's going to be happening tonight. You're going to be on the call. We had a chance to talk to both head coaches yesterday and previewed a little bit, but I want to kind of do what we did when we did football matchups and dive into a little bit deeper in this matchup, the stats that line it up. What's the biggest one-on-one matchup you're looking for maybe? And let's have some predictions of maybe who will score more, things like that we did with our football matchups.
First and foremost, I mean, there's all kinds of, the thing with both of these lineups is that realistically, both of them can be so versatile and play pretty much against anyone they want to against each other. Let me look at these rosters. First and foremost, I think if Mick Rother is playing primary point guard, I'm looking at Deshaun Will. That's going to be probably guarding him.
He usually takes point guards or whoever's bringing the ball.
He's probably one of the best on-ball defenders I've seen in the area, and he's only a freshman, but he's been playing with this group of seniors since he's been younger. So he's kind of been encultured too, and he plays a lot older than it seems to, and he's not afraid to take those shots. So I think that's going to be a huge matchup tonight too, because Mick Rother is if he's not scoring, he's still an engine for this team. He's still He's facilitating the ball, and just he demands attention when he's on the court just because he's able to take it to the rim and score it. He's able to get really good first steps on a lot of drives too, and that's where he gets a lot of success. He's also able to pop it from mid-range, and when he's really feeling it, pop it off from the three-point line too, and get shots as well. So Mick Hergenrother is one of those guards that can really do all, but I mean, the really great thing about him, he exemplifies what a true point guard is, it feels like, first, and that he's looking to get his teammates the ball first. He's looking to get them involved and start really moving the unit.
Hergenrother sacrifices points for assists, which is a hallmark of the best point guards in basketball. When you can say, I don't know what he's averaging exactly, but this is just for example, and you can be averaging maybe 11 points per as a point guard, but you watch him play and you're like, that guy could average, if he wanted to, 16, 17 a game, but he sacrifices, 8 points for himself a game to get 8 points for someone else, distributing the ball with assists. So plus his assist to turnover ratio is very, very good. So he doesn't turn the ball over all that much.
Biggest thing too, point scores. Hergenrother is the leader. He averages 14 points per.
But here's what can't happen, Ty. Remember in that game against Springfield, really, really quickly, Hergenrother had 3 fouls with 3 reach-ins. If he gets in the foul trouble, I mean, they escaped Springfield without him. I don't know if they escaped Camel without him on the defensive floor, especially.
The thing too with Camel is that they all can shoot the free throw at the free throw line pretty well. They all have pretty solid free throw percentages. There's not like one guy to key in on because they can all shoot pretty well. So, I mean, and the other thing with Camel too, it's like you got to play you got to find that perfect balance on defense where you got to be aggressive at some points, but sometimes you got to back off because you could either get into foul trouble or sometimes if you bite too early, they can blow by you and they can get scores that way too. I mean, that's a thing that's going to be really interesting to see how Mooney keeps up with this Camel defense, because a lot of teams, it seems like they're able to keep up, but they burn out around halftime and they go burn out by the third, fourth quarter, and Camel's usually able to take advantage then. Third quarter actually is Camel's best quarter this season too. I think they average over 21 points in the quarter too. So third quarter is their best average-wise this season.
Ooh, you're coming with the fire stats.
I mean,
advanced stats for Ty.
Looking at the two leaders too, Hergenrother averages over 14. Kevin Moore averages 19.4. Rocco Turner also averaging double digits too. He's having a great little year too. 12 points per game. Great little year. I don't know why I said little year. Why is this? It's loading so slow right now too for me. But no, 12,
you're
12 points, averaging the most points, but also averaging 4.2 assists. That's a huge number too. Anytime you could average over 4 assists a game at the high school level, you're doing something right. You're directly affecting at least 4 more baskets to teammates throughout the night. That's huge.
When I'm looking at Camel's defense, and you've seen them a lot more than I have. I've only seen like 2 games that I've done live. They take a lot of gambles with their athleticism. Like they'll go for the steal. They'll try to jump that passing lane, and when it works, it leads to easy breakaway dunks. When it doesn't, I feel like that's when Mooney can take advantage. I think drives off the pass against this defense are going to be big because sometimes they'll gamble. They'll try to jump that passing lane. You catch the ball. And for that split second, and it's a split second because Camel's so athletic, you're going to have a little bit of lane on that defender that takes that gamble to try to get that steal. Ty might be gone. He's frozen. Ty's frozen worse than a Disney Pixar movie. Well, we'll give Ty a second to come back. Nope, he's done. He KO'd. Oh, there he is, baby.
Over here? Are we?
Barely. He's trying as his might.
Glitch gremlins.
Fighting the glitch gremlins. Are you back?
Am I here?
I can hear you.
I don't know. Am I?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good. Well, you're frozen, but I hear you. Oh, now you're gone again. Welcome to
Well,
live streaming.
let's see. Let's see if it holds through. I don't know. Maybe. Okay. Anyway, what was the discussion? You were talking about Camel's defense.
Yeah, Camel's defense. Did you hear anything I said, or was it gone?
It was gone after Camel's about taking a lot of risk because of their athleticism, is what I heard you.
They take gambles when they go for steals. They do it a lot. They try to jump passing lanes, and for a split second, because their athleticism, it is a split second. It's a quick decision. I think catching and driving is going to be something that Mooney is going to be able to do, because when they take that risk and they try to jump passing lanes, all of a sudden you're for a second you're out of position. And if Mooney can take advantage of those split second out of position spots for the defense, that's going to be something that they're going to have to utilize. We lost Ty again. No. I heard it for a second.
He's ducking me.
Ty's ducking Scotty. That's what he's doing. He's scared. He's saying, no way, I'm out. Not dealing with Scotty's stuff. Scotty's right across from me. He knows. He's smiling. He's smirking. Oh, there's Ty. Nope. Where? And Ty's gone officially. Ty peaced out. Yeah, I think talking about Campbell's defense, there's going to be that it's not going to last long, but they do take their chances. They have athleticism. They want to get their turnovers. They want to run out in the half court. And Scotty, you want to pop in while Ty's MIA?
Sure.
All right, I'll pop you up here real quick. All right, Scotty, when you're looking at Mooney versus Camel tonight in the Canton Memorial Fieldhouse.
I think I know you guys have talked about it quite a bit already, broken down some stats. I think this is going to be a hell of a game.
Because it's the Devils? Yeah, good. Good pun.
It's the Devils. Yeah, going up against, the Capitals. So
you're right.
It's got to be good, right?
It's the good old-fashioned heavenly warfare.
But the thing, I guess this is a simple way of putting it without even looking at the numbers. Just on the surface for me, I want to see Camel's all that athleticism that they have that you were just talking about, and how they take chances on D. I want to see how their athleticism kind of shows on the floor against Mooney's stifling defense, and Mooney's D is stifling.
Oh, it's smothering, stifling, suffocating, whatever adjective you want to use, they got it. Let's see if Ty is back. Ty, we good?
You hearing me now? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's clear. Everything's smooth.
So, and to kind of comment on what you were saying too, Anthony, and I agree. I think the thing too, Camel takes a lot of chances on defense, and I think that's why they do so well. They average over 14 steals a game this season, and a lot of those come in the live ball situations. And I mean, if you think about it, you turn those 14 steals into 2 points apiece. That's 28 points of their 72 per game that they're getting off of live ball turnovers.
You got to risk it for the biscuit, right? I mean,
for sure. And I mean, I think they do a great job at that. Mooney, though, on the other hand, 11.8 steals, just under 12 per game. So they get a lot of steals in their own right. The one stat, though, Anthony, and I mean, it's a stat I always look at. It's a stat a lot of coaches look at, rebounds. And this is going to be, I think, a big telling stat for Mooney in this one, because I think Mooney, speed-wise, I think they can keep up with Camel in instances. I really do. I think they have, because they have a lot shorter athletes. I think they have a lot more quickness too, and I think they're going to have the quickness to keep up with them defensively, and I think that's going to pose issues for Camel. But for Mooney, on the other hand, I think Camel has the height advantage, and a lot of teams have had the height advantage on Mooney in this one, but Camel already a really good rebounding team. They rebound really good against teams that are taller than them. Camel comes in averaging 35.6 rebounds per game. Mooney's averaging 22.4. And that's a number. If Camel, they're already coming in lopsided average-wise. If they can really make that number lopsided in this game, that's going to make things a lot tougher for Mooney. And that's what Coach Palermo was saying, stopping them after one shot and ending at one shot, not letting those second chance opportunities take into effect. And if they're getting a lot of rebounds, Camel's dominating that box score, that area of the box score, they're going to get a lot of second chance points, and that's really going to make things tough for Mooney's defense then.
Let me ask you about something, Ty. How much are you buying into the experience factor tonight? I mean, Mooney obviously went to regionals last year, and this is the first time Camel's even been in this round since 2009. Of course, they're new to this kind of stage, but they didn't blink one bit at the big stage at the district level. But there is something to be said about being there and not being caught up in the hoopla of regionals. So how much do you buy into it? What percentage do you think kind of that factors in to Mooney's experience?
You know what? Hard to put like a percentage on it, but I would say definitely the only way you get experience is through experience. And that's always what I've been told. And that's the same. Yeah. You only get experience through experience. So it is going to pay off in some aspect, having that experience of being there, going there, playing Lutheran East, the champions of last year in that first, that semifinal round, and getting that exposure. Yeah, it was a loss for Mooney, and it was a sizable one, but it was still getting that exposure and just being there and getting used to it. I think it's going to play some percentage of a factor. I wouldn't put all the chips in it. I'd say no more than like 10, 15, 20%. But I mean, it does have a little bit of influence going into this game, but that doesn't speak anything against these Camel players, though. They've had ice in their veins, it seems like, the entire way through. They come in with a mission, and it seems like when they have a goal in mind, not much stops them from achieving it.
Here's an important thing about Mooney being there last year, though. That they were at this level, but they were not at this stage because they couldn't play in the Canton Fieldhouse last year or the Civic Center because of COVID-19. They were just in Twinsburg. So it probably the atmosphere and the hoopla of regionals wasn't there. Kind of probably just felt like a district game at a neutral site. So yes, they have the experience of being at this level and playing in a regional game, but it wasn't the atmosphere that it will be tonight for sure.
And tonight's atmosphere is good. And we know Mooney's faithful always shows up this late down the stretch. Camel, rocking Red Devils, I've deemed them this season, and with good purpose. I mean, that they've had sellouts almost every home game. They travel pretty well too. I mean, they get those gyms rocking, and they had a full sellout stadium for Howland. I expect them to pack Canton as well.
It's the Red Devils against the Catholic school. Good old
Red Devils against Cardinals.
Good old heavenly warfare. Bring your pitch.
So you're saying Caberna's got the halo, and I got
Caberna's got the halo. You got the pitchfork.
I got the horns.
You always have the horns. Nasty. When you look at it, and you look at, before we stop this conversation and bring on Daniel Wedding at 1:00, one more thing before we kind of just let the players play. Outside of leading scorer, pick one player that you think is going to have a big game tonight. You can pick either team, except you can't pick Kevin Moore and you can't pick Mick Rother.
Can't pick Kevin Moore. Can't pick Mick Rother. There's a few ways I could go, and you want me to go both teams, correct?
No, you can pick whatever team you want because it's just one player that you think is going to have a big game.
Oh, one player on either team. Okay, and it can't be the leading scorer.
So
there's a few avenues I can go with this one because. So what I'm gonna say is I'm thinking I want to go Xavier Leonard just because I've seen him step up constantly time and time again this season. but I feel like that's another just predictable one. If I don't go Kevin Moore, to go Xavier, because Xavier averages over 14 this season, 7 rebounds. So he's another kind of big name. I'm going to go Deshaun Will, the freshman. I think he's going to be one of those players. He averages over 7 points per game. He averages over 2 steals per game. I think if he's going to be on Mick Rother, I think a good game for him and a big game for him doesn't need to be 25, 30 points for him. He can score 5, 10 points. I think a big game for him is if he is limiting or putting a wrench in the Mooney offense by what he does defensively against Rother, if that's the draw too, or whoever picks him up too, because a lot of the time the ball goes through him. But also Deshaun Will is one of those guys too. Because of the freshmen, they kind of leave him because they usually start 4 seniors, 1 freshman. If they don't respect him, he can knock down threes, and he has the athleticism to get to the rim. And I think for him being a freshman, he stepped up big down this stretch. I think he's primed to have a big game. It doesn't seem like these moments are too big for him.
I'm going to go the other side, Mooney side, so we're cutting it even. Outside of Mick Rother, I think the guy that's going to have a big game tonight, I'm going to go with Pecchia. I think Dylan. Oh, geez, I hope I'm not wrong.
I think it's either Dylan or Drew. I think it might be.
It's Drew. Now you got me really confused. Now you got me really.
Let me double check.
You got me really sidetracked.
I think it might be. I don't remember. It is definitely with the D. It might be Drew. Let me double check.
Drew? I think it's now. Now I'm saying Drew. Drew. Watch it be Dylan. It's definitely Drew.
It might be. Let me see.
Oh, I feel bad. Names.
It would be great if these weren't so. If it wasn't so slow. My internet today is just like, nah, we're gonna slow it down.
We're not gonna do that. Here, I have the scorebook from the Springfield game. It's Drew. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Drew.
See, look at that. I got names off the top of my head sometimes.
We escaped that bullet. Drew Pecchia, I think, is going to have a big game for Mooney tonight. So
it's going to be interesting to see, because especially down low, when you have to kind of battle with those trees, it's going to be huge too. And being one of the senior leaders, I think it's going to be huge to see if he could kind of take that flag and lead them to the promised land. Because I feel like a lot of those opportunities, being 6'2", he's one of the tallest guys. He's going to be competing with Xavier Leonard and Scavos Koros down low. So winning some rebounding battles is going to be huge for Pecchia.
Being a senior, that gives you an edge. You don't want this to be your last game. You're going to have a little bit of fire under your gut. I think he's going to have a big game. What can I say? We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have Daniel Wedding, the strength and conditioning coach at Austintown Fitch, joining us. Don't go anywhere on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-res futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life,
Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And we are going to welcome in the Director of Strength and Conditioning at Austintown Fitch. It is Daniel Wedding. And Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. Great to talk to you.
Hey guys, thank you guys for having me on. I love what you all are doing for the local athletes and the coaches in this area and just getting the word out about their programs. It's awesome to hear you guys go on and talk about the stats and things like that. It's great.
So first and foremost, I mean, having you on, it brings a unique interview because you've had the experience of so many different athletes, but kind of just go over what you do for the Austintown community as strength and conditioning coach and what your kind of role is in the community.
Yeah, so I'm the Director of Strength and Conditioning for the Austintown Local School District. My main job is basically to prepare our athletes for competition and make sure that they're healthy and resilient and, can meet the demands of their sport. So for me, I work with 7th through 12th grade. When I initially got here, it was 9th through 12th. Had to try to get everybody on board. And then now we're really reaching down over the last year and a half or so into our middle school. So, our goal is if we can get, 100 workouts in for 7th and 8th grade, that's 200 workouts before they get to high school. And they're going to be ready to hop right on in and contribute right away. And I think that you'll see that with some of our younger talent that have been with us for a while, like they're already prepared for competition. And luckily, like we've had, knock on wood, we've been pretty healthy in most every sport because our kids are consistent and show up every single day.
Sorry, I lost the mouse there for a minute. You were honored as the Ohio Strength Coach of the Year, and I want to get this acronym right because there's a lot of letters, by the NHSFCA. Talk about what that honor meant to you and what it kind of meant to you to be recognized by your peers, really, in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, it was. When I got the phone call, like it took a second for it to kind of sink in because I think that. I took a chance. I moved up here. If you can't tell by my accent, I'm not from here. But I moved 8 hours away to take this job and to kind of take a chance on myself because I felt like I was prepared. So I think it's a culmination of that belief in myself and the program that I wanted to build here at Fitch after meeting and going through the interview process. But it's also a culmination of the collaborative effort that goes in between myself, the sport coaches, our administration, and then just our kids' consistent pursuit of, perfection, essentially. So it was very humbling that my peers not only recognize me, but recognize what we're trying to do as a whole athletic department.
What kind of culture were you trying to set in place when you did take this job and you came over to this? And I guess to also say, what does it mean to get the community support from Fitch as you have?
Yeah, I think during my interview process, I recognized really quickly that there was a lot of pride in this community. And then, just being in the Youngstown area, you hear the word grit a lot. And that's kind of what I wanted to bring here. I wanted to bring, a gritty atmosphere, a consistent atmosphere. We always talk about always striving to be 1% better. All right. If you show up every day and you're 1% better every single day, that compounds over time. And that's kind of like our goal here. And another thing that we constantly talk about with the kids is, what is the standard? I think that's extremely important because a lot of people like to set goals, but they're afraid to set standards. And there's a big difference between the two. So we have to establish our standard and not accept anything less than that. And when we do that, good things will start to happen over time.
Spring sports are on the horizon. I know you work with all the baseball players, all the softball players, the track and field athletes as well. Talk about some of the things that you've done with these spring athletes and kind of highlight some of them that have really put in a lot of work in the weight room. We know we see it a lot on social media. Fitch highlights their weight program better than any other school in the area as far as what they put out on social. So we see it a lot. Talk about how proud you are of some of these kids and these athletes that have really put in the work with you in their training programs.
Oh man, it's going to be so hard to answer that and give everyone credit that deserves credit. First off, to the coaches that trust me with their kids, about 16 weeks out from the spring season, which is about November, our track program starts indoor. We start that indoor weight training program. And then we also start our preseason training program for baseball and softball. And just to see the consistency that the kids have between November and February is amazing, because, you have Thanksgiving break there, you have Christmas break there, you've got New Year's. I mean, there's so many opportunities for them to say, oh, I can't make it because of this, or I can't make it because of that. And those three programs have really strong cultures in terms of training, and then what the sport coach, the expectations that they set. So just having them show up every day, trying to get more explosive, trying to get faster, trying to get stronger so we can have a little bit of injury resiliency has been awesome. To highlight a couple kids, I don't want to miss anyone. Obviously, Maddie T, she's been awesome. We kind of had like a little sad moment the other day when we were at team photos, and I said, like, hey, we got to make sure we get a picture together. Like, you're an OG, like you're an original one from when I first got in here, one of the first ones that kind of bought in. Let's see here. Baseball.
Did you teach her to drop the weights with authority too? Like, it was when she made that personal record, it was like a mic drop. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
She's just extremely focused. And she wants to be great. I think Seton Hall is getting an absolute steal with her at Division II, because I definitely think that she's a D1 caliber player. Her work ethic is really unmatched. I mean, all the girls are like, they know who Maddie T is. Oh, did Maddie T lift that? I don't know. You know what I mean? And boys wise, like we've really had a group of seniors with the boys baseball team that stepped up. Hopefully I don't miss anybody, because like I said, I got 600 kids between my high school and my middle school. It's crazy. But Mikey Sortino, Jake Coral, Josh Lowe, Brandon Popio, Brandon Stevenson, like we've really got some kids that like dialed it in, and those guys, not only from a coach's aspect, from a player aspect, they tried to develop a great culture in the baseball room, and it's been great. And then, in terms of track and field, wow, there's so many great kids in that room. I mean, if you look at that room and the culture that they got, like, it's expected that you have 100% attendance year round. And that's just the standard. Coach Steiner does a great job. Coach Damon, our head girls coach, does a great job in running the distance program. And then, so many kids. I mean, names you've heard from football, Tyler Evans. You've got some kids that are track only, that I think that I hope to see pop onto the scene. James Souls, Jared Brown, Adam Emmerich's going to be a senior. We got a really good potential 4x1. You got Jade Neely, Donnie Ellis, Brody Herman, Dan Evans, Cam Smith's out. And then the girls are the epitome of consistency and like a really special group that like to push each other and see each other succeed. And, I'm going to try not to miss any there, but, you've got Caitlin Leedy, Aiden Conley, Chloe Baraducci, Grace Schmack. Those are some of the throwers, some of the other sprinters, Savannah Jones, Deonne Thompson. I mean, we got some young 8th graders that have been in there and been up in the fold with high school because they're so committed. Like, it's really hard to name all these names. Miranda Sherwood, Chloe Smith. I just don't want to miss anyone, man. I mean, we're lucky. We got a lot of great kids.
Talking about that too, I mean, going from sport to sport, I gotta imagine strength and conditioning varies and it changes. So talk to me about how you kind of cater to each sport and each athlete individually, because even athlete to athlete, we're starting to learn with sports science are different and their bodies train different.
Yeah, so for what we do at the level that we do from 7th to 12th, I think that 80% of what we do is the same across the board. I think the 20% that it varies is between the coach, or excuse me, not the coach, but the athlete and the particular sport. And what I mean by that is, you're going to look at a sport and where they're at in their competitive calendar. And you need to make sure each sport has a particular time that they want to peak at. And based upon, the talent and the skill and et cetera that you have a pretty good general idea of what that particular point in time is. And then you want to make sure that they're prepared to peak at the right time. They're not overtrained or undertrained, and they've been getting the right amount of stimulus to make sure they're prepared to peak, maybe at districts for us or regionals or whatever it may be for that particular sport. And then I think the other 10% of that out of the 20 would probably be injury reduction. So you have every sport has what we call their global aspects of injury. So, in soccer, it's ACLs. Okay. So we need to make sure that we're training and addressing that. But what are we seeing at a local level? And what I mean by that is locally with our particular team, what injuries are we seeing? Okay. And how can we kind of manipulate our training to address those particular injuries, within our own. And then there'll always be little individual switches here and there for the athletes, hey, something don't feel right with my hamstring, my shoulder don't feel right. So what substitutes can we put in to make sure they can continue to train at a high level?
You mentioned earlier how the coaches trust you with their athletes. I'm wondering how much communication you have with the coaches at Fitch. Is it like they come to you in the off season, they help you build a plan for what they want their athletes to get better at the next year? Or is it pretty much like the coaches just send their athletes to you and say, you mold them and then we'll take them from there? Is there a lot of communication with the coaches, or is it kind of a separate thing?
No, I would say that there's a lot of communication. I mean, I talk to a majority of our coaches on a weekly basis. We don't expect the coaches to show up every single day here in the weight room, just like they wouldn't expect me to show up every single day to their practice. I trust them to do their jobs, and they trust me to do my job. There will be things that we sit and talk about. Hey, what areas do we feel we're weak in? What needs to, what areas do we need to improve in? And here's how we're going to address it. But we see our coaches at least once a week, and it's nice because when the coaches stop in, it shows the kids that it's important. When you don't show up at all throughout the whole off season, you can say it's important, but you have to show it's important. And I think that's why the culture here at Fitch is so good, because all our coaches come in and show that it's important. They don't just talk about it, that they make the effort to show the athletes that they're expected to be there. At the end of the day, like in the off season, none of it's mandatory. We cannot make it mandatory, but I think that the culture of the programs, the culture that I've tried to build, the culture that the players are kind of part of now, it's expected that you're going to be there. It's not mandatory, but it's mandatory if you want to be great.
Talking about the fact of having just a beautiful facility to train in right there next to the high school, right there next to all the fields. I mean, it's a nice thing for the school because it shows the community bought in, the community continues to support the school. So what does it mean to you to have these kind of facilities, and what do you think it means to the kids to have access to these kind of facilities to train in and to be trained by you going through their high school careers?
Well, we do have great facilities. We're very blessed here with the facilities that we have. I know I just had someone come up, a family friend, and he's a D2 coach, and he said down south, and he's like, I cannot believe like the facilities that you have. Like your high school is nicer than our Division II, athletic programs facility. So they're extremely blessed. I think that they know how lucky they are, but then sometimes they'll go to another program and, on a visit, and then they'll come back and they'll be like, oh, coach, our weight room's so much better, like, and things like that. And like, that's kind of cool to hear, because my goal was when I came here, run it like a Division I program and try to provide our kids with the best experience possible during their 4 to 6 years here with us.
Obviously, you're the director of strength and conditioning, but we know you can't manage all those athletes by yourself. There have to be people that work with you. Talk about the people that work with you in this strength and conditioning realm, and the people that kind of help you build up these athletes.
Yeah. So, well, first off would be my assistant, Myron Anderson. I can't mention without him. I don't know exactly how long you've been doing this show, but Myron was a great athlete at Louisville, and he's probably in the Hall of Fame there. If not, he should. I'm voting for him. But went to YSU, ran track, was a very successful track athlete and a very successful track program there at YSU. Went on to get his master's. He actually came to me as an intern and then worked all summer. And it was kind of one of those things like, when you have really good help and you got to try your best to keep them around in some way, shape, or form. I always say, like, if I have an intern that leaves and a kid asks me, hey, where is so-and-so? Okay, I know I have something good. If they're wondering after one day where that individual is, that individual has had oh man, the word just left my mind, but that they've had an impact on that athlete, and we need to do whatever we can to keep him around. So Myron does a great job for us. He runs some teams on his own now, begin programming and things like that. He's a guy that I know that if I can't be there, I have to step out for this. I have computer work to do, or I have this, that I know that it's not going to skip a beat. The kids know the standard. He knows the standard, and it's going to continue rolling on. I've had so many awesome interns that have had an impact on this program. We have kind of like I don't know to call it a partnership, or, we got a good relationship with YSU and the kinesiology department there. And they kind of help me get interns that are looking into the strength and conditioning field. And I've had so many. I think I'm at 15 or 16 total now for the time I've been here. We typically have about 2 or 3 a semester. And they just come in and they buy into what we want to do, and they try to understand our standard and our expectations, and they try to carry our program forward. And really, they don't understand how valuable they are, because chances are, like, they could be the weakest link in the coaching chain because they're growing and they're learning and they're developing. But that's so important because they have to hurry and develop quickly. And they come here and they don't stand and hold a clipboard. They get in there, they coach, they develop relationships, and they're a huge part of our program. I think yesterday at football we had 60 some kids in the weight room at the same time. And, we're going on the whistle. We're trying to have them make a move with tempo and pace and get through the workout, make sure we get the whole lift in. And they're a vital part of that because I can't coach 60 people at once. So, for football, we have me, Myron, my 3 interns this semester, Delaney, Brenna, and Mo. And, there's 5 of us in there with 60 student athletes. So now it goes from 1 to 60 to 1 to 12, coach to athlete ratio. And that is just so huge on ensuring that kids are doing things with correct technique. They're getting coached, they're getting addressed, especially when it's hard to make it throughout the whole room in that short of a time span, while we're going.
Coach, looking also at just this community too, and all the support you've had, and just the amount of kids that you've had go through this program, what does it mean to you that seeing these interns going through and seeing all the kids that participate in strength and conditioning, that this is starting to become a serious topic inside the student athlete's mind too, and they're starting to really jump on board with the strength and conditioning at younger ages?
Yeah, it's extremely important. I think that you can't underestimate the impact of 50 extra workouts. I do think that our 7th and 8th grade participation is pretty good, and those kids that come are really extra committed. But I think that, like, Myron does a great job with the middle schoolers of putting out a program and a standard where they want to show up every single day. And then the interns really get to kind of dig in with that and develop, because there's not a better, way to develop as a coach is to work with someone that's really like green, in the weight room. And what I hope is that we continue to have interns also that move on and become physical therapists, become chiropractors, become strength coaches, and they can go out and have the opportunity to have that impact somewhere else where maybe there's a school or a community that's not lucky enough to have what we have here at Austintown. And I think, eventually in our profession, the goal should be every high school should have a strength and conditioning coach that's certified there.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and giving us a little bit of a peek inside of what goes on in the strength and conditioning program at Austintown Fitch. You do an amazing job. Once again, named the Strength and Conditioning Ohio Coach of the Year, so that's obviously a big nod towards you and backs up all the things that we know about you from Austintown Fitch. Thank you so much again for the time, and good luck on this spring season.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Good luck to you guys. Looking forward to having you all down to the softball, baseball, and track meet so we can meet up face-to-face. It'll be awesome.
Sure will be, Coach. I'll talk to you later.
All right, see y'all.
Daniel Wedding, the director of strength and conditioning at Austintown Fitch, and one of the best in the business. Like I said, he was named the Ohio Strength Coach of the Year. Well, I don't want to get this acronym wrong, so I'm going to look it up again because it's, like I said, it's a lot of letters. By the NHSSCA, named him the Ohio Strength Coach of the Year not too long ago, and he has definitely earned it with his work with Fitch.
And that kind of plays into the participation in all sports. So when students are kind of looking if they want to go to a certain school to play sports too, or a certain high school, some of those middle schools, if they're transferring too, I mean, it helps too. When you have those nice facilities and you have good people in good places too, it draws people to it. And I mean, that's why programs are successful. That's why you see the Louisvilles, the South Ranges. You look at all these coaches, and I mean, if there's people, good people in good places, it's going to attract the students for sure.
Especially at the top. And he's the director of something. So when you're at the top of something and you're just a good person that wants the best for the athletes, then it's going to thrive. He's good at his job. But beyond that, he genuinely and full-heartedly cares about the kids that he works with. And that goes past just being good at your job. You can be good at your job doing strength and conditioning, but if you don't actually care about the kids you're working with, then what's it matter that you're good at it?
Yeah, honestly. And I mean, he does a great job too. And we've heard some praise from like all kinds of people, athletes and parents and all kinds of people that have nothing but compliments for
he's worldwide. Like when sorry to cut, but when Fitch put out the article that he was named Ohio Strength Coach of the Year, they were getting mentions from people in New York, people in Carolinas, people in Florida. I mean, it was just like, hey, I know Coach Wedding from whatever. I feel like he's been a road warrior. He's obviously from the South, but there are definitely a lot of people that know that name and respect it.
And I mean, what he says too is about focusing on the injuries too. And I mean, he just seems like he's got really good head on his shoulders about sports science and about the progression of the human body and how they need to be strength and conditioned. And he seems like he has a great breakdown of everything. And I mean, very lucky Fitch is to have someone like that at the top too, to kind of start setting this culture and not rebuilding it, but start setting a really good culture of strength and conditioning and start modernizing it with the times.
I was surprised when he said that throughout the sports, it's about 80% universal. And then
I was surprised it was that high too.
I honestly I know nothing about strength and conditioning, but I just thought different sports require different workouts. I thought you would work out a basketball player different than you would a football player. Baseball player would have different workouts.
But I think there is something to be said about them being multiple sport athletes. So obviously professionals. Professional athletes are going to work out certain body groups and certain workouts all the time because that's what but I think it's more about the 80% staying flatline as you want them to consistently keep the same muscle groups active and conditioned throughout the season, and then just start tweaking the certain muscle groups, and then the injury build up those areas for
very good point.
Basketball probably has your ankles, and like you said, soccer's your ACL. So it's focusing on things.
Very good point. A lot of these athletes, probably can't afford to just focus on one sports workout throughout their whole circuit because they're getting ready for basketball season in the middle. They're trying to work out for basketball season while they're working out for football, or they're getting ready for baseball as they're working out for basketball season. So they can't afford to just say, I'm only going to do my baseball workouts. It's just not that.
Unless you're like a really big D1 school, there's not too many single sport athletes. There's a lot. I mean, D2 and down below too, and football, all those lower divisions, there's multiple sport athletes. All your athletes are multiple sport.
even like the biggest schools in YSN. I mean, like Louisville has plenty of multiple sport athletes. We saw Kelsey Adelman rocket in volleyball and basketball. You're going to see a lot of those basketball players on the softball team. Zach Seaman, great receiver for football, but great basketball player on the Louisville team that's playing in regionals. Actually, he's a dang good receiver in football, by the way. If you've never seen Zach Seaman play football, it's a treat. But yeah, even the biggest schools on our YSN coverage map have plenty of multiple sport athletes. Like Boardman's D1 in everything except football, but they have plenty of multiple sport athletes. So it's almost like common thing, no matter how big your school is, the pool of athletes doesn't mean that it's as big as the school.
And I mean, it's the same thing with Fitch. I mean, Fitch is, I believe Fitch is also D1 in everything except for football too. And I mean, they have,
yeah, they're D1 in
I think Fitch has
basketball. Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of 3-sport, but there's plenty of 2-sport athletes at Fitch. You play a lot of the athletes at Fitch actually play about 2 sports.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm thinking
off the top of my head, Evan Salee, Devin Sherwood, Joe Roth. I mean, Ayla Ray.
Those are all multiple, but I'm trying to think of someone that plays all 3, and I can't.
Fitch.
Like I'm just going for my volleyball roster, seeing there's someone that plays volleyball, basketball, and softball, or runs track. They could run track that we don't, because we don't have track.
Yeah, the track roster's big, and
so there could be someone that plays basketball.
Nate Leskovac did that. Nate Leskovac at Fitch last year did football, he did basketball, and then he did track.
Right.
So Nate Leskovac was a freak athlete.
I think he actually lifted off the ground sometimes with his steps.
I don't think I think Simons was just a 2-sport. I don't think he was 3.
And then you go to schools where the only way you're going to have a team is if players do 3 sports.
Pretty much, yeah.
They're in that boat. So we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to talk about a lot of spring players because we have some softball, baseball previews coming very fast.
Very
boy.
Fast. We said we were going to get them booked, and we wasted little time.
Steve Ward opened the floodgates, and now everyone just kind of
everyone heard YSN's doing softball and baseball, and they wanted to jump on the ship. Hey, the floodgates are open. You need to get on this ship too, and we're welcoming all coaches on our ship too.
A little bit later, we'll go and preview what we have tomorrow, maybe the rest of the week, what we have nailed down, scheduled at this point in time. That way we can promote when your coaches are going to be on. Coming up next, though, Scotty Mitcher's in the studio. He's going to try to bring some heat and fool you with some trivia. He has also got some great topics to talk about as well. So we'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickie Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickie Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickieElectric.com. That's DickieElectric.com.
Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell, and we have in the studio with us, like we do every Wednesday, Scotty Mincher coming in hot with the Cavs jersey.
Yeah, big win last night. And my boy, who I'm repping today, Evan Mobley, monster game. Not as big a game as Darius Garland, but, I had to wear the jersey today. I'm feeling good.
He's feeling good. They're in the 6th spot, which means right now Scotty's still alive in that preseason bet. I don't even remember what you guys put on the Cavs being the 7th spot.
Yeah.
Did I say they were going to be specifically the 7th spot?
I remember it was like they had to finish in the 7th spot. That was the.
I thought it was they had to finish above the 7th spot.
I think it was very specific. Like Cavs are going to be 7.
It was specific. You said they would finish 7th.
We have to look at that episode. I don't know if
Ty wants to check the tapes.
I do want to check the tape. I don't remember if I said 7th or above 7th.
He's got the challenge flag out.
I will throw the challenge flag.
Ty, don't worry about it. We don't even remember what you guys said was going to go on it. So
I just remember adamantly saying that the Cavs were making the playoffs before.
I actually think Scotty gets 10 points.
Yeah, it was for. I don't know if it was as high as 10. It might have been like 7. But
7 points. 7 points if Cavs finished 7.
We could go back and check. But
I don't remember what we said, but I definitely remember saying the Cavs are making the playoffs. I think
that was like one of the first times we had Scotty on. We'd have to go way back in the logs.
Yeah, it's pretty far back.
Yeah. Real quick, just on that, for you, Ty, and then I have a question for both of you guys to start off, something I've been thinking about. But Anthony, since you're not a NBA or really an NBA or Cavs fan,
I'll just slide out right now.
But Ty, I know you follow the Cavs and big time Cleveland sports fan. They had a good performance last night, although they've struggled recently as of late. They were as high as 2 or 3 in the Eastern Conference, and currently they have the 6th spot, but they just can't seem to stay healthy. Jared Allen broke his finger in the game prior to the Indiana game against the Raptors. So what do you think about this Cavalier team? And provided that Allen isn't going to be back before the playoffs and with Karis LeVert out, do you think the Cavaliers can hold on and stay out of the play-in with Jared Allen maybe out the rest of the year?
It's going to be tough. Jared Allen's a huge rebounding aspect for that team, but I think they have a lot of great pieces around this team, and I think that's kind of what the Cavs have been building up with, is just having the pieces. Darius Garland's huge. I think having Markkanen on the team is huge. I think they just have a lot of good pieces that can go in and out. If they could hold on long enough and maybe Jared Allen gets back sometime in the playoffs, that would be big for them too. But yeah, injuries are just part of the game, and it's unfortunate that they're striking the Cavs, because a full healthy Cavs squad, I think, can compete with anybody in the East, and I think they've proven they can compete with anyone in the East. Because right now, Brooklyn doesn't impress me with everything that they have going on over there. Even though Philadelphia got Harden, they don't impress me as a favorite either. And neither do really the Bucks. I mean, Giannis is Giannis, but I think we've proven that we can contend with them as well with a healthy roster. So I think it's just more or less, I want the Cavs to get healthy, but I think they can hold on. I think they still have enough talent got to look through their schedule again. I don't know how many tough matchups they have left on their schedule. That's going to be
A
important.
lot of tough matchups.
Scotty
So-
knows.
The last thing I'll say on this, and then I want to get Anthony involved with us here. I just was wondering from you, Ty, do you get the feeling that Jared Allen could even miss playoff games? And do you think if he does miss postseason games, do you think that kills the Cavs' chances of winning a playoff series?
It could. I don't know. I mean, if it's a broken finger, I mean, Allen might just wait a week or two, throw some tape on it, and go out there. Because, I mean, he's not one that needs to shoot the ball a whole lot. So, I mean, he could realistically tape it up. And, I mean, Steph's done it, too. I don't think he broke his finger, but I think he's had like a fracture or something like that where he's had taped fingers and he's shot, too. So, I think it might be a case where it's like you rest him. You don't want it to get any worse. You try to get him to be 100%. But I think if it comes down to the tournament, I think if he's ready to go, I think they'll throw a cast on it and say, get out there and play.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. I think it's a little different in Allen's case, though, because he is a big man and he tries to block shots. Steph isn't doing that as much. So there's where I think the difference is. But anyway, moving forward.
Steph is too busy doing this.
Yeah, he's just clipping those threes. Best shooter I've ever seen. Just unbelievable. I thought he'd be good coming out of Davidson. I didn't think he'd be this good. But anyway, I wanted to get your guys' take. It's something I've been thinking about for quite a while. I was thinking about it last night before I was set to join you guys today on the show. As you know, the article is on our website, ysnlive.com, and it talks about during March Madness, Hubbard player, high school senior Caden Lowe, along with another student athlete from Struthers, will be featured in a commercial during March Madness. And you could watch the commercial on the YSN website as well below. And I wanted to know from you guys, because I know mine, but if you could be featured in a sports commercial, what sport would you want to be playing in that commercial? And what would be your top venue you would want to be in during the commercial?
What venue were they in? I didn't get a chance to watch it.
I think I watched it. It wasn't. I couldn't really tell.
All right.
From when I watched it.
Ty, if you were in a commercial, what sport would be featured in, and where would you want it to be filmed, I guess?
Why you put the spotlight on me, Anthony?
it's your time
You
to
could
shine.
get it right on your toes.
Your time to shine.
And it was. I was gonna say, but I wasn't 100% sure. I thought this was the case, but it was filmed inside Hubbard's middle school gymnasium. So that's where it was filmed.
Super Dave confirmed too.
A Super Dave confirmation.
Yep.
Why do you keep throwing this?
It's your turn.
I went first with the last one. It's your turn, buddy.
Well, yeah, you were the only one. You can't go first when you're the only one in the conversation.
Yeah, it's your turn to get in the conversation.
I have the
I don't know.
controls, so it's your turn.
I don't know. I'd probably just say baseball, and I'd say progressive field. I think it would be cool.
So it will obviously be a progressive commercial, and it would be featuring Flo, right?
Sure.
Why not progressive in Baker Mayfield? Baker.
Tying a football commercial.
I don't know if I want to be in a commercial with Baker Mayfield.
I mean,
You could be locking up the gate.
Yeah.
What's the code again? It's 6. 6.
He is good in commercials. I'll give him that, but it's annoying when he throws like 4 picks.
It's not fun seeing the commercials once the team's eliminated. Like, oh.
Yeah. Like
At home with Baker Mayfield.
The sneaker commercial.
At least I only had to watch that during the Super Bowl, not anywhere else.
Yeah, that's true. And he does have a ring and an MVP.
The Mahomes commercial I like better than State Farm is the one that he does with Paula Mullet.
Oh, the head
and shoulders commercial.
Yeah.
Never not working.
That is a good one.
Never not working.
So, Anthony, do you now?
Okay. Let's see. Commercial. Where would it be filmed? What sport would it be in? I'll go hoops, and I'd want it filmed in McCamish Pavilion, where Georgia Tech plays their home games.
Oh, he wants to be in a hoops commercial. Yeah. If there was like a hoops commercial, I'd want to...
wheelchair going off the ramp, dunking, bringing the house down in the chair.
I'd want to be in that commercial that Larry Bird and MJ were in with the McDonald's one, where it's like, I'll play you for the Big Mac. And then they just start shooting off like ridiculous. That would be a fun commercial.
I feel like they should redo that because Clay can hit some trick shots. Steph can hit some trick shots.
Didn't LeBron redo that commercial with like Dwight Howard or something?
It was either that or LeBron and Kobe might have done one.
I think Larry Bird was in the stands too during that commercial, watching them with.
I think like LeBron and you might be right. It might be LeBron and Howard or LeBron and Kobe or something like that redid one.
Just out of curiosity, Anthony, you said Georgia Tech, and you mentioned, their court. Do they have a name for their for the student section? Do they have like a special name or not really?
You mean like the Cameron Crazies?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, I was just curious.
And, they call it it's McCamish Pavilion. I guess there's a section 103 where I guess I don't know what it's so special. I've never been to a home game for basketball yet. The one year I was in Atlanta for basketball season, they were finishing the basketball arena, so they weren't playing any home games on campus. So I went to a home game, but it wasn't their home floor. Kind of disappointing.
And mine, for the people wondering out there in YSN Nation, I would have to go baseball. I just love the vibe and the feeling you get in a baseball stadium. Most people know I'm a Guardians fan, but I would change it up here. I would go baseball, but I'm picking Fenway Park. It is to this day my favorite park. So
I've been there.
Have you been there?
I have been there.
I've been there because he knew the address.
I was at that's right. I forgot. I remember I had to pull off the address.
That was a trivia question, and I thought there's no way Ty.
I watched the Red Sox play the White Sox at Fenway Park.
Ty, you know what's funny? I went to Fenway Park in 2016 in the Red Sox absolutely obliterated the Indians. It was like a 15-3 game. But that same year, the Indians knocked out the Red Sox in round 1 of the playoffs. So they got redemption.
That was They always have a knack to have great games there, though. I've seen some great games at Fenway Park with Cleveland and Boston. But no, I saw the White Sox play the Red Sox because I was in Boston, and if I was in Boston, I was not going to not go to Fenway Park. So.
All right, Scotty, you got about 12 minutes, however many questions you can fit into that. It is time for your trivia challenge with Ty. The score is 84-37.
Okay, this is all fire today. I mean,
Oh man.
I just feel I feel like I was just playing poker with the devil or something.
Oh, Devin went down to Georgia.
I'm just so ready to go. Okay, Ty, last week, as you and Anthony said, I said I left one in the holster for you, and it was a Warren Moon question. And what I want to know from you, Ty, I want to know what year did Warren Moon win the NFL's Athletes in Action Bart Starr Award?
I got to be honest. If you ask me to name one athlete that has won the Athletes in Action Bart Starr Award, I'd be like, nah, can't do it. So,
I think. Now I could be wrong.
Oh, you got me
he's got.
already.
But I
Don't be
think
such a
it was in
pessimist.
1994.
Oh, you're just too good, man.
Did you get it?
He got it. Okay, let's see if he could get this one here. There's a new series on HBO Max, and it's called Winning Time, and I believe the full title is Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. And in that same era, Paul Westhead was the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And I want to know from you, Ty, what well-known comedic actor plays Paul Westhead in Winning Time: The Rise of the Los Angeles Lakers, the new series on HBO Max?
What a plug for that series.
I know, right? He's like Scotty's
Like,
getting
we
money.
might have to clip that and turn it into a commercial.
So who? Okay, so again, just repeat the question. You want to know the actor who plays who? And
I want to know the actor who plays former American basketball coach who coached the Lakers from 1979 to 1981, Paul Westhead. I want to know the actor that plays Paul Westhead in the Winning Time series. And it is a well-known actor. It's not someone, obscure that hasn't been in much. So there's your hint. Not that you need any hints, Ty. Just dead. Those mills are
Dead
spinning.
silence.
I feel like, because I've seen these commercials, they keep playing them on Peacock. I feel like it's Jason Segel.
Oh, he got it. Boom.
Oh my goodness, man! I shouldn't.
I'm trying to think of who.
I
all
don't think he would have
I
mattered
wanna
if
really
he got a
see it,
hint.
too. It looks like a great show.
All these damn freaking hints. Those are my two best bullets, and you just said no.
No.
You did Kembe Mutombo me. Man, I do have another one, although I feel like this is going to be a layup.
Sometimes he says that and he gets you though.
Yeah. I think last time I said it, I got him, but
He's hustling you.
I really do feel like this is going to be a layup for you, Ty. I want to know from you, who was the first athlete to be named Sports Illustrated's Sportsman of the Year twice, and in what years was he named the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year?
So I guess today's theme is sports awards.
Isn't it Tom Brady? Because he just won it in 2021 and he won it back in 2005. I think it's Tom Brady.
Is that right? Tom Brady, 2021, 2005?
You lose. You are wrong. You get nothing. Good day,
day,
sir. No, it is not Tom Brady. It is Tiger Woods. He won it in 1996, and then he also won it again in, I believe, I'm having trouble seeing the year here. But
Do we have to fact check this?
yeah.
No, I think he did win it in 2000. Actually, what I think I was going off of, I think Brady was the first NFL player to win it more than once. And I think that's what I was thinking of.
I thought Scotty just said he was the only athlete to win it twice.
I think it was 2000. He was the first.
Oh, the first. Okay, not the only.
Yeah. Because Tom Brady has done it twice, I was going to say. He just did it recently.
So, yeah, I got you there, Tiger Woods.
So the running total is 86-38.
86-38. So
I'm gonna write that down.
We have time for more.
If you got one,
Yeah.
you got 4 minutes.
I do have one actually. I want to know from you, Ty. Everybody knows that the GOAT, or a guy who many people consider the GOAT besides Quinn and Super Dave, but Michael Jordan. Everybody knows he went to North Carolina to play his college basketball. But I want to know from you, Ty, what team did he root for? What college basketball team did he actually root for growing up? And the second part of the
Where do you get this? A documentary?
the second part of the question is, what team did he want to go to? Did he want to join before he decided to go to North Carolina?
What team did his cousin Mary root for while she was growing up?
So what team did he root for growing up, and then what team did he want to go to before he chose to join the Tar Heels?
I can't fact check this one time. Unless I went and watched The Last Dance right now.
And this is just so people know, to give them, some, background, some info. This is according to Bleacher Report. So.
Bleacher.
Did I get him again? I don't
know. He's sitting in silence.
There's silence there. The sound of silence.
Bleacher Report. More silence. Dead air.
Dead air.
And you got, let's see.
I want to say
TikTok.
TikTok.
I think he wanted to play with UCLA because I think Bill Walton mentioned something about that, but he was never recruited.
You are good.
That's one.
You're a hell of a so you got one, but what team did he actually root for growing up?
And you got like 30 seconds.
College team, right?
Yes.
$15 seconds.
I'm just going to throw a wrench into it and say Duke. I don't know this one.
You are wrong, mister.
He's so excited.
It is the NC State Wolfpack.
One of the only, I think, 6 college teams that mascot does
I
not
should have
use.
just went with another NC State team.
So you both get a point, and the total is now 87-39.
Hanging in the neighborhood. Not
87-39.
We appreciate
you're almost at 40, Scotty.
You're getting
All
there.
right. That'll do it for this episode of Running Point. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. Power Hour from 3 to 4. And tomorrow on the show, as we look at our guest schedule for Thursday the 10th, let's see, at 12:15, we're going to have Maria Ciccolelli, the head coach of the Jackson Milton softball team, coming on. And then at 1:15, Mike Colopi, the Colopi.
Colopi.
Colopi. I already said it wrong. Colopi, Edison Baseball, will have him join us as well. And then rounding out the show at 1:45, Brian Warner, the head coach of Louisville Baseball, on the show tomorrow.
It's baseball softball season. You better gear up, Scotty. We got you covered here on ysnlive.com.
All that plus
I say we should do a game together.
We're doing the All-Star game together.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that. The Willies are coming with force, man.
All that and more tomorrow from 12 to 2. Me and Ty, we're taking a 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow on Running Point. Enjoy tonight's game. Camel versus Mooney, $9.99 gets you access to it from Canton Memorial Fieldhouse. We'll have an in-depth recap of that one tomorrow as well.
Like we have